What's up, everyone? What's going on? Happy Tuesday night. Welcome to Club Collab. My name is Max Jimenez, and I got my co-host over here, I think, somewhere. Ryan Overcash. I always mess that up, bro. I'm sorry. What's up, Ryan?
One of these weeks, you'll get it right. Doing well, bro. Doing well. Thank you. Thank you for checking in on me, brother. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, bro.
I know you got a lot of big things going on, bro.
I know last week I said Happy New Year's, and you're like, no, not yet, Max, not yet. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, you got it. Oh, so you got to bring that back up again, huh?
Awesome, guys. Everyone, thank you for tonight for tuning in. We have a great show tonight. We have a very good friend of ours, Ryan Zolin, doing tremendous things in this industry also, and great things for the community as well too. We're super excited about tonight. I want to remind you, first of all, this is a live show, so remember, ask your questions, comment. The one thing we ask as well is that you share this with someone before we bring Ryan on. And today I'm going to have a little bit of struggle because I'm going to be like, Ryan. But this is going to be a great show. Ryan, like I said, is doing some awesome things. I mean, it's amazing, man, for what he's done, right, at his age. And what were you doing in your 20s, Ryan?
I don't need to talk about that, bro. It's just a waste of time, bro. It's depressing, really, after you hear this guy talk, man. So no, wasn't doing anything, not even close, man. Anything.
Yeah. No, for sure. He's doing some great things. But above all, besides all the great things he's doing, he's a very humble guy and, loves to give back and, loves to provide value, I think, overall for the community. I think what he's done, up to now, they're building some great communities, but I'm not going to get into it. I want him to talk about it tonight. I want him to basically, break that down, things that he's doing and what he's doing for the community. But again, guys, this is a live show. Real quick, couple announcements. We are looking for high-level individuals to join our team. Ryan, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We just like Max said, we're growing, we're expanding. We have a lot of open availability, as I say. We need people quick. So we're looking for people who are driven, who have Max always says batteries included. We have resources, training. We're very hands-on. We're very open with our business. So we don't hold anything back to what we're trying to say. We don't care about anything like that. We just care about somebody who is committed and willing to learn, who is coachable and, wants to get better in the real estate industry, whether they're having challenges right now or whether they haven't even broken into the industry yet. We're looking for individuals who want to team up, like-minded, working on themselves, want to get better, and just need to looking for the right fit, like I was years ago. I was looking for people who could help me, who saw my my drive, and so we're looking for people who have the drive, who are ready to go, and again, want to win in real estate.
Cool, man. And how can they get a hold of you if they can get into the opportunity?
Yeah, easiest way is on IG, Instagram, at Real Ryan Overcash. Send me a direct message. I'm always checking my messages, so I will respond. Please, if you know anybody, tell them to reach out to me. Reach out to me and tell me who you know. It doesn't matter. Just get in contact with me, please, and we'll make it happen.
Cool. Awesome, man. So if for those of you that are watching this either right now live or on the replay, reach out to us if you are looking for an opportunity. I know that, things are changing pretty fast. And what a better way to start the year with, joining up with the team at a high level and stuff. We're doing some big things. So enough of us talking. I want to bring on our special guest to kick off not only to kick it off, but the first segment of the year, right? 2023. Let's start this off with a bang. My man, our very good friend, Ryan Zolin. What's up, Ryan?
What's up?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Of course, man. It's an honor to have you on. You know, we planned this out a little bit, and it worked out. So I'm glad to have you on, man. I really appreciate you for being on the show, and it really means a lot. I know you're a busy guy these days. So before we get into some of the things you're doing and some of the stuff that you're doing in your business and for the industry, for that one person that doesn't know who Ryan Zolin is, that's maybe watching you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what how you got started in this and where you're currently at right now.
For sure. Yeah, it's always fun like doing like the intro piece, and I feel like it's definitely easier to be on the other side being like, tell me about yourself, because the more you try and the more you do it, the more you feel like you mess things up.
Yeah, right.
So to give like the brief 1,000-foot overview, started at 18, fresh out of high school, didn't know jack shit about the world or about real estate, didn't have any connections, there's no family money or anything like that I was walking into in real estate.
Yep.
Literally barely passed high school, 1.7 GPA. College wasn't in the picture, just was not what I wanted to do. I went, and because of literally what I say, like how dumb I was, I went to the place where I thought I needed to go to get qualified to be in real estate. Went to real estate school.
Right.
Got my real estate license, started on a team, basically failed my way forward. This is year number 7, where I basically went from being a traditional real estate agent to doing commercial and business broker transactions to growing a team, wholesaling, fix and flip, raising private capital, kind of done it all now. And we just launched a community last year, passed over 300 students in our first like 9 months launched. So that's been my primary focus now, is basically growing, like you mentioned at the beginning, building community and providing value for others.
That is amazing, man, especially for like, you started when you're 18. How old are you now?
I'll be 25 next month.
25 next month. So 7. So yeah, that's really amazing as far as the transition, right? And I'm pretty sure if you look back at what from where you started and then the transition and where you're at now, you're probably like, holy smokes, right? Like
different guy.
Different guy for sure. No, and I think that's very important to think about that, because a lot of us forget about that, right? Is sometimes we get so overwhelmed or we get distressed or whatever the case may be, right? And because we don't ever take a look back to see where we were at and to where we're at now. So you first started as a traditional agent. How long did that stint last?
It was about like 3.5 years. It wasn't bad. I mean, I sold like $70-80 million combined between the team that I was on and just all the transactions I was a part of. So I think that's a pretty big note to make. Before I went to the investment side, I had no limiting beliefs between what I feel like are the two biggest hangups on the investment world, which is contracts and escrow. Most people are too scared to fill out a contract because they don't know what they don't know. And escrow, I mean, I just say this is where I learned to stay in my lane. Let those people tell you what you need or what you're missing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so when you started that was that originally going to be like your long-term plan as far as like the traditional side, or what happened there?
Yeah, it definitely was. I started on a team where I saw a team do $70-80 million a year. I saw a team lead put a Tesla on her vision board, and less than a year later, she got it. I was like, damn, this is the route to go. Like these, and also, I mean, you had a few agents that were in the office half the time, and the other half they were out traveling and playing golf and hitting clubs. So it's like, man, I'm in the right space. So I definitely thought traditional real estate, like agency stuff, was going to be my primary focus. And then, I mean, we all know the guy Templeton. Met him, and it was just lights out. Completely changed my sense of direction of everything and shook up my entire world the day I met him.
What if you don't mind me asking, what did he say that caught your attention, Ryan? Why did whatever he say, to mean? I'm sure a lot of people have ideas and come at you. What was it so big that drew you to this one?
Great question. So the thing for me was that definitely, like I said, different person. I was an egotistical, entitled little shithead, basically early teens. And then even the minute I got out of high school, I mean, I thought the world owed me something. So I walked in, and then, there's the toxicity of traditional real estate where you close one deal a month and you're told you're crushing it. And all these title companies say you're a top 1% in the entire state. So you're like, man, I'm hot shit. I'm unstoppable. I'm this, I'm that. And then you meet a guy like Temp, and he says he's doing 400,000 on the side wholesaling. And then he makes another line like, hey kid, you're the big fish in the small pond. And you're like, damn. All right. So what he got me to do was take a step back and realize there was more opportunity. And I just needed to, it wasn't that I was looking at things wrong. I had the wrong lens on. So it was just that I had to change, like, I always refer to, like, I mean, I actually wear glasses, but like it's glasses and contacts. Like you had to change the lens and to be able to see a little more clear. And I saw the idea of wholesale. And then it just helped that he was over at an MLM brokerage that he was incentivized to bring me over. So, I mean, he got me to, it was sales skills, but also it made me take a step back and realize where I was at, I was peaking. There was nothing else I could have untapped. I was already doing business broker, commercial, and the traditional agency, and I had a team. There was only so much more I could have gone as a ceiling, and I already had kind of conflicting views with my brokerage where I was competing against them rather than growing with them. So.
Got it. You know, that's interesting. You said that about the doing one deal a month put you like on the top performers. And there's a lot of truth to that. People that listen to that actually goes like over their head. And you know, because we all know, I mean, obviously we all know a realtor or two, right, in our life. or we've tried to contact a realtor or two in our life, right? And they don't, 75% of them don't pick up the phone. But I love that you said that. And I can only imagine like your thoughts and your mindset hearing those things, because I don't know if at the time you thought about that or if you knew the what is it, the percentage of realtors that don't actually do a deal a month. They do like one deal or two deals a year. Did you know
that's
that?
Where it's skewed. I did not. So when I'm being told I'm killing it and I'm crushing it and big things are happening around me 24/7, and in reality, I'm 18, 19 years old and I'm your top performer at the brokerage, get the hell out of here. No, Temp is 100% right. I needed to be called out and I needed to be humbled. Had I stayed where I was at, if I stayed where I was at that brokerage, I would have failed miserably. I would have been stuck in a one-trick pony lane, and I would have only been able to be doing traditional real estate stuff. And I probably would have had my business partner that I had in the past, and we would have just been focusing on commercial. So
no, that makes sense, man. That's good that you always, it's always interesting how one connection changes your perspective or your, you know what I mean, your direction. The other thing too, I know that, from the experience that I've gotten as far as like, I'm not licensed. I've never been licensed, but I've always worked around agents. We've had team members that were licensed. And one common thing besides what we just talked about is that a lot of people get their license because they think they have to invest, they get their license because they think they need it to wholesale and invest. You want to talk about that misconception? I know a lot of people talk about it, but you want to talk a little bit about that as far as, that having that misconception that you need a license to invest in real estate?
For sure. To actually squash the theory 100%, I recommend you don't have a license. Coming from a guy that is licensed, do not have a license when you're first starting. You have to kind of like dip your toes in. I know a lot of people tell you like this, when entrepreneurship is a lifestyle, you got to jump 2 feet in. No, there's a lot of different ponds, like we were just referencing. You got to dip your toes in and see which pond works for you. So I would say to not be licensed is the way to go, because you don't need to spend money on the real estate school. That is literally my only justification as to why to not go to real estate school. If you have the money to spend, go to real estate school. The only reason I am an advocate of going is because you can capitalize and make more money. So on the traditional agency side, I make a really good living, and I don't show any houses. I am not a traditional agent. I have a transaction coordinator. I literally don't even see these houses. And so I'm able to maximize my profits. But there is definitely the misconception that it's a requirement. It's not. I have an opinion that it will be in the future. And that's just because of regulations. So.
Yeah. People are stupid and they do dumb things, and they don't. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to connect this back because somebody's listening like, well, wait a minute, you're the MLS king. Like, what do you mean you don't need a license?
Right.
I kind of threw that wrench in there, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. So then you obviously run into Temp and you see what he's doing and you're like, man, that's amazing. And you're like, now I'm not doing anything. So was that a challenge to you? What was your mindset? Cause I know you were still a little, I don't know if you were, obviously you're young now, but you were young at that time. Did you look at that as a challenge? Because I think one of the biggest issues, and I say this all the time because of my sales training, is without going like mindset of belief system is really big. Like I think, even though social media waters everything down, we had this conversation at lunchtime. Remember how social media ruins everything, and waters everything down, things that are important. And one of those things is mindset. I want to get a little bit of perspective of your mindset if you can remember, if you can explain about how you looked at that opportunity, or when you saw that somebody else was doing more than you and you really weren't doing what you thought you were or who you were.
So I was a big receiver of a lesson with the mentality of comparison. I mean, it was looking around, and I actually was looking back at this recently, and I saw the photo. I think you were in the room too. We had like all the big killers that are in real estate in Phoenix in one room prior to the market really blowing up and everyone kind of blowing up in the industry. So
I think that was at the Go Giver Mastermind, I believe.
Correct. Correct. And so it was like perspective, one, being like, okay, I can do this. Two, it was also the biggest cancer I had because it was comparison. I was like, there's guys spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. There's guys that have this system. There's guys that have this sales training. Sandler training was the very big pop off at the moment. It was like all these different things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I need all these to succeed. So very quickly, I'm spending all this money and I'm like blowing it all. And next thing you know, it's like, all right, I got nothing. The thing that was my saving grace, ironically, was it was a community. It was having people in my circle where I always share the story, and I try to go a little more in detail with every time I share it. But when I was in that time of transitioning to the investment world, I was relying on my traditional agency deals to be my funding for my investment stuff. So I was basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, except in reality, I was robbing Ryan to pay my bills. So I was taking from myself. I was going all against profit first. And I was using that, which, I mean, it was a risk. It was an investment in myself. But the thing is that I failed. So, I mean, I had paid money to be a part of a community. It was astro flipping. And I mean, fortunately for them was that I got the blueprint of everything wholesale. So they kind of taught all different avenues of real estate. At this time, they were just more of like, hey, let's go micro flip. Let's go and put out bandit signs. Let's reverse engineer and cold call people that have already done deals. Let's stop and look at the people that have the dumpsters out front. It was like the sweat equity manual labor, but it was how to JV deals. So I took that concept and I merged it in with what I knew at the time, which was on market deals as just being an agent. And this was in the midst of failing everything. So like, while I told you I failed, it was because I literally ran out of money. Like I was $6,000 in the bank account, or $6,000. $6,000 in the bank account, $5,000 overhead. And I literally didn't have it. And I went back to temp and I was like, what do I do? Fast forward, we kind of missed a piece here. I jumped out of EXP, went and met Steve. And I had again, right people in my circle, but I was struggling. So I was at the point of breaking and didn't have any money left. And luckily a deal that came to save my life was from an agent. Ended up closing the deal, got a $30,000 assignment fee. And then it was like my first crossroad of being in the investment world, aside from the failure. It was, do I take this money I just made and reinvest it and try to do this again? Or do I just double down and do what I just did and see if I could do it again? And then it was another agent deal, an MLS deal, another agent deal, MLS, kept going. And next thing you know, that's kind of how we invented the double dip. It was through accident. I had a transaction coordinator at the time, Kyle Holder, that we were doing a couple of deals, and there was one deal we closed, got like a 10, 15K assignment. And he's like, what do you want to do with the commission? I'm like, what commission? Ended up calling Steve. He went through all the stuff. He's like, well, this was right. This was right. This was right. He's like, you got paid a commission and assignment fee, but you represented yourself as the agent. But as a buyer, you expressed your right, which was your equitable interest, and you wholesaled it. Congratulations, you did this. And I was like, has anybody else ever done this? And he was like, I'm not sure, but you could claim this. And so that's kind of when I took my stamp of approval, and I took my 1.7 GPA, and I'm like, 2 payments, double dip. That's it. That's the wording. And,
nice. That's awesome, man.
Wow. I had no idea that was the backstory. That's
dude,
crazy.
It was literally on the verge of failure. And this was right before the market took off. And I'll give a lot of the credit to the market for sure. I mean, I sold deals that a lot of people sold deals that shouldn't have sold.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, first year doing the strategy, literally, dude, it was like almost a 12-month calendar year, but it was 11 months in. We did 250K in our first, like what I call it, was our first year with that strategy. Next year was over 700. And then this year, I mean, we took a little bit of a step back, but $500,000, and that was with the market shift and everything that pivoted. So,
wow, that's amazing, man. I think, it's one thing that I'm noticing in all the stories is like taking action, right? Taking, unperfect action and learning. And, obviously you didn't know you were getting paid twice on that deal, but you took the action to make that happen, which a lot of people are afraid of, right? It's like, I have to learn everything. I need to know everything before you take action. And then you don't end up doing anything at all. Sure. I remember when I first started the same way, like I locked up 3 or 4 deals, I think it was, and I had to cancel all 3 contracts because I didn't know how to comp. I didn't know, but I was still out there putting bandit signs, sending letters. And then finally my 5th one ended up closing. So I think it's great to hear that from you. I didn't know that story, you know, and it's good. And you invested in yourself. That's the other thing, right?
Oh,
a lot of
absolutely.
people are afraid to invest in themselves when it comes to coaching or mentorship, or even like, you know, wanting to learn even more. It's people are scared of that. So this transition starts. You're still doing traditional, and you're still doing wholesaling at the same time while this is happening now.
Yep. So at the
Okay.
beginning there, it was before I really went full in on the investment side, that
Okay.
like the on market and agent related stuff. When I was doing the direct to seller, I was
Yep.
doing a mix of both. And it was really because I had to rely on, at one point I was showing rentals to try to get money to be able to pay for skip trace. It was so
Maybe
dumb.
you're telling me that.
So dumb.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I was trying to do both. And then I realized the year that I ended up making that $250,000, I was like, wait a second. My best year in traditional agency, I was working 60, 70 hours a week. We did about 80 million in sales, 70, whatever, 80 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember making like 130K. And this was off of, I mean, our gross amount was like 600, 700,000 in commission. So one, we were paying people too much money. Two, I was the hardest working person in my business. And three, I was getting burned out at 19 years old. So I was like, this is just 1, 2, 3. I can't do this. Then when we started doing the on market and agent related deals, I was like, light bulb. I mean, now we make amazing money in commission. We do very well on the wholesale off market stuff, or just wholesale assignment fee stuff. Yep. And then on top of that, we've got some other cool ventures and stuff where the way I always explain to people is like, wholesaling is your foundation. Once you can make that active income, I'm not saying turn off the active income. It's a faucet. Yeah. You can turn it on and off whenever you want to.
Correct.
But the wholesale side becomes an automated system to where we can usually generate a good amount of referrals every year. Same with the traditional agency work. Now at this point, I just give out all those to referrals and the people in my team. And the wholesale, I've got an operation where team handles all that stuff. And then, yeah, it's pretty much just automated at this point.
Yeah, I love that. I always example or compare wholesaling to like the ATM machine, right? You put $1 in. Sometimes you might get 50 cents back. Sometimes you might get 50,000 back. We don't know, right? But the idea is you have to put $1 in order to get whatever that is back. And and again, you're right. You can, and the great thing about it is you can scale it. You can downscale. You can run it however you want. And so everybody runs it different, right? Everybody has a different process for everything. So, and I know as far as like what you start investing, you start wholesaling, and then were you wholesaling properties on the MLS too? I think you said at that time.
Yep.
Okay, got it. So you were doing that already before you came out with before you came out with like your mentorship and all that stuff.
Okay. So we did that for 2 years prior to launching anything. We did I wanted to have proof of concept. I needed to be able to prove that I could, one, have it be a business model, and two, I need to be able to practice what I preach. So 100%. On market and agent related, that is all I do. And I like what you even mentioned about the ATM machine. The thing I like is that I feel like our ATM machine is broken in the best way possible. Or I walk up, I press a few buttons, no money goes in, and usually get $5 out. So that's kind of our strategy, our forte. I feel like I'm the one guy in the industry that will teach you anything, that might even say that my strategy could not be the best. There might be another strategy out there that is better than mine. But what I will say is that mine is the best place to get started. So if you haven't done a couple of deals, or even if you have done 1 or 2 and you're trying to scale it, to get your foot in the door, it's through agent relationships. Stop trying to work with other wholesalers. Stop spending money in marketing. Pick up the phone and call agents and call people that have listings, and you'd be amazed at what can happen from there.
I love that you said that. Can you break that down a little bit? Because here's the thing, like, I know exactly what you mean by saying that, and I know a lot of people are like, why is that? And what, instead of what you just said, is reaching out to other wholesalers, trying to deal with the wholesalers, go to the agents. How come? What's the reason behind that? What's the purpose?
So, I mean, let's take it back to the extreme basics. I mean, the number one rule of small business is to stay in business. Second is that this is the one industry that I will tell you is that I found an opportunity that I will say is the closest thing to a get rich quick scheme. You are literally virtually submitting offers, virtually sending those offers to a title company, virtually calling people and sending another assignment contract, and then getting couriered money by a title company. You are literally the definition of printing money. That is what this entire business is. So while I understand that's very attractive and a lot of people see this stuff on social media, the thing that you have to understand with any kind of business is that it takes sacrifice. So you have to choose what you're willing to sacrifice. And a lot of that determines, I mean, it's going to be based on what I call variables. It's going to be based on what season of life you're in. Right now, what I want people to understand is that I don't care what season of life you're in. I don't care what variables you have. The minute you get the opportunity, don't fumble the bag. I feel like another thing that people don't talk about is that this is the one industry people say have 6 to 12 months of reserves saved up. Let's emphasize the fact that we're telling you that you may not get paid for 6 months to a year. So understand what you're going up against before you even go into battle. A lot of people I know for the last 2 years, you didn't even have a skill set and you were able to get this deal done. And it wasn't real. So now you have to sharpen the tools. You have to get your foot in the door. And now that I've explained all that as like an intro, you're going to sacrifice one of two things. And in some cases where a lot of people fail is even what I did. You sacrifice too many things. You sacrifice headspace. You sacrifice time. You sacrifice money. You sacrifice time with your family. You sacrifice all the things that are like essential to living. And then what I'm talking about is you sacrifice time. While you do have to still sacrifice some of the personal things, the thing that I'm talking about is going to keep you in business because you have more time to get stuck in what I know most people do, and it's the analysis paralysis. I can really understand where I feel like most people come in. Where I was 18, I didn't know anything about the world. So I understand where I can just relate to is if I felt that way going into real estate, what is somebody that's 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old that comes into real estate feel? Most of them might have bought or sold a house or two, but they have never done a contract. They've never had a conversation with an agent or a homeowner about buying their house. So what I'm talking about, my strategy takes a lot of time, but direct to seller takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of money. You can't go in and put 50 cents in and get $1 out. Like you said, on direct to seller, you put $1 in, you're probably going to get 50 cents out. Where it becomes a thing that I don't like with the direct to seller game. Sometimes it's a pay to play game. And I feel like most people don't call that out either. If you have big pockets, go direct to seller. But also, if you have big pockets, I'm going to be asking why you're wholesaling and why you're not just going and buying properties and being the bank.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, it all full detail stuff, but like, that's kind of like
very good points because, one thing that people forget about when it comes to direct to seller wholesaling is it's not a real estate game. It's a marketing and sales game. So if I know that I can push, $100,000 a month in marketing and you could only push, $1,000 a month in marketing, well, who's going to win? Right. And so I played that game. Even if we were only making 5% return on whatever that investment was, I'm still on the positive. It's not the return I want, but I'm still spending it. And the money's just turning. Right. I know when we're spending, when we're doing TV marketing, freaking, our return was like this much, right? But we kept doing it because it worked and we were getting leads, and that's what it was all about. It's a marketing and sales game, and you can definitely do that. But on the other side, and going back to your point about the low entry point, right? Like every other business, whether it's a franchise or whatever it is, there's an investment, right? Whether it's 60,000 or 600,000, they all require some type of skin in the game, and this business is the only one that doesn't, and attracts some bad players. You can
watch this video right here, get inspired, go download a free contract online, download a free list, hit the phones, and before you know it, your Instagram bio has changed and you're a real estate investor. I mean, that's
so true, so true. So knowing that when you go direct to seller, then recommendation is to start building relationships with agents, right?
So understanding that this is my infamous saying, but the hardest part of being a real estate agent is to find the client. The hardest part of being the investor is to find the deal. So if you can understand that you are the variable that is the hardest piece for a real estate agent to succeed, what I'm trying to do is bridge the gap between the two and make agents also understand investor relationships are the easiest way to get to the point where you're killing it doing more than one deal a month. Yeah. So let's understand how to work together rather than competing against each other. And also, while a lot of people will teach you to go and work with others in the industry in JV, the thing that you need to understand about agents is what you just mentioned about qualification. While the barrier of entry is still very low, this 1.7 GPA that cheated through the school test can very well pass the test. I will tell you that most people need to understand that the agents are in the trenches. They will spend thousands of dollars in marketing every single month. And they're the ones that are out there trying to get the same opportunity as we are. They're just trying to get it in listing and talk about a one-trick pony. The only thing they know how to do is walk in and say, hey, I can put a sign out front and sell this for you for top dollar. What I want us to understand as investors is when you talk to the agents, you can be a tool on their tool belt that they don't already have. So build relationships. It's a freaking numbers game like everything else, but you're not looking for 50,000 agents. You're looking for 5. You're looking for 10. Imagine if one agent brings you more than one deal. Are you going to go and do multiple deals with a seller? Maybe one other, maybe. Agents, right?
No, yeah, no, you're right, because that's the power of multiplication, right? Because they're going to continue to talk to, they're going to continue to market, they're going to continue, you know, and if they trust you and you become that go-to guy that you know that you're going to say what you say, like that's really the biggest part, is that understanding when you build relationships. And we have a similar model right now. It's not necessarily agents, but we have what we call our in-house partners, where they're investing their money into marketing, they're investing into generating leads, and then they funnel those leads. We have about 5 relationships, and that's more than what we can handle. Like we have no like overhead when it comes to actually marketing. But we have to be reliable. We have to do what we say, or else we can ruin those relationships, right? And I totally get it, man. It's definitely the same model. Sergio actually has a question. He says, how is doing deals in the commercial market versus residential?
I didn't like the commercial game, so I mean, I only really focus on residential, and then we are now looking into multifamily. So I guess that would be in the classification of commercial. Yeah. But commercial that I did in the past was more light industrial and land and like development and like complexes. So I sold a lot of actual businesses, pizza shops, sub shops, car washes, horse ranches, things that were like already functioning businesses. Yeah. And it wasn't a passion. I made a lot of money and I learned a lot of cool things, have a lot of good relationships in that space. But a lot of the people in there, I'm just not too fond of.
Yeah. The other part to that too, man, is that this is the thing that always trips me out. We'll get deals sent to us, and we'll have a guy that's never done one deal, and he's like, "Hey, I got a 30 unit complex.
Yeah,
like,
oh my gosh.
Tell me." And I'm like, "Do you not understand? Like, this is not like you're wholesaling a single family residence house.
Right.
You can be into this thing for 8 months, 9 months."
Well, and that's just it. And I should probably classify too. On the commercial stuff I was doing, it was traditional agency. So I was representing buyers and sellers in those transactions, whereas wholesaling commercial is a completely different aspect. Just not a realm for me.
All right, Claudio has a question. He says, Ryan, what are your thoughts now that the market has shifted? That's, beginning question. What would you say that there are now more opportunities given the seller agent expectations not being met with their overpriced listings?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So the market has shifted, and let's identify that. Let's also identify that the odds that agents are setting expectations accordingly are probably pretty slim, which means that we're just going to have more inventory rising. I was just talking with Jack Iman about this about a month ago. We were doing, like, he sends me much of the stuff he does research on. I send him stuff that I do research on. And the thing that he sent me that really stuck to me, this was probably like actually a couple months ago now, it was that this market in Phoenix that we're referencing is essentially a double barrel market. And this is a market that isn't really talked about too often. But typically what happens, well, historically, is that when the purchase price or the value of the homes goes down, is that the price of rent goes up. It's basic economics. Whereas here, we have extremely high demand, but we also have unrealistic price points, and people can't reach those anymore because the interest rate's going up. So what ends up happening is we have more inventory on the market, but we also have rental market going down too in price. And a lot of... No worries. So the biggest thing with the rental market is because a lot of big hedge funds and institutional buyers went in and bought a lot of properties over the country. So over the last 2 years, if they went and they bought a bunch of the demand, well, now what ends up happening is if a property is listed for rent in one neighborhood, there's probably 5 or 6 other homes for rent in that same neighborhood, meaning that you've got a race to the bottom. So yes, there is more opportunities, but the opportunities are also led with a lot of problems. So what I would say for on market right now, the biggest target to go after is understanding that price point's your only objection. They want to sell the house, obviously, which is why we say the hardest part of being the investor is to find the deal. We know it's on market. They want to sell the house. We know the price they want. The next question is, how do we get to the price that makes sense? One of two options. One is a cash offer, and their motivation has to be significant enough to where they're going to sell it for that offer. Or 2, you offer another solution, which is creative finance. Understand the only alternative is the listing agent loses the listing. And if you're not licensed, and maybe those that are watching the replay that are, you understand what I'm talking about. When you have a listing, you pay money in what? Signs, marketing, time, sacrificing all these different things to go out there and get the listing, because the hardest part of being the agent is to find the client. So if then they list the property and they can't sell it and then they cancel, what happens? The agent doesn't get paid. So go in as a problem solver rather than trying to be the one trick pony that says, here's a cash offer. So yes, agents and sellers' expectations are not being met because of the overpriced listings, but what changes? Because right now, I'll tell you, I think it's hope. I think that people are hoping for interest rates to go down. How many agents are you seeing right now post that now is the best time to buy? Lenders are going to go and say, marry the house, date the loan. I'm sorry, I can't convince someone that had a 2.5 to 3% interest rate to go and sell their house that they're paying 10 cents for every single month.
Oh no, absolutely not. Good. That's a good answer to that. Let's see. Vicente says, I've just turned 21. I'm looking at 12 months ahead of me, straight up wholesale. I'm doing direct to seller. Do you guys have advice for building the ATM my business?
Yeah, turn off the blinders. I mean, I'm getting up here and I know that Max and Ryan have a completely different approach than I do. They go direct to seller. What I do is on market and working with agents. The beauty of the thing here is called perspective. What you get here is the understanding that there's multiple ways to skin a cat. The most important thing is finding what works for you. I love that you're looking 12 months ahead. I was just putting down some goals the last couple of days going into the new year too. And I'll tell you, the one thing I've realized, I didn't even do 2023 goals. I'm doing what my goals are in general. It's a matter of me making it a priority to hit them this year. So it's up to you to do the same. What I'd advise you to do is say, you want the ATM to go and build. Okay, if you're going direct to seller, up your KPIs. Because right now, what you have to understand is, like I said, the last 2 years are fake. So you have to work twice as hard to make half as much. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Makes sense. That's the other thing too, is that it's are you willing to go through the process, right? Because a lot of people are in love with the end result, but they're not willing to go through the process of that. So Marlon says Charlotte's full of hedge fund investors. Oh yeah, Charlotte is notorious right now for that. So continuing with the conversation, I know basically where because out of all this that we just talked about, that's where agent investor was born out of or came out of, right? And so how did that start, by the way? How did agent investor start? What was there a need, or how did that start? You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Definitely was a need in the marketplace. I started seeing it become like a very big, I guess we'll even call it this. It's a shiny object. I mean, it was the agent outreach fee. And this is like what everybody started pushing. So one, I felt like I was the guy kind of leading the forefront of it. But the problem is that it wasn't that it was being taught incorrectly. It's that it wasn't being taught efficiently. And I think that's the biggest difference maker, is that anybody could teach any strategy in the market. Anybody can go and not even close a deal and teach something in this market. That's how crazy it is to be in the education space. It doesn't mean that they're teaching it efficiently. And that's the word that I really highlight when we talk about agent investors, is that what I teach, I'm telling you, it's literally nothing in marketing. So what I'm talking about really isn't all that complex. It's just a matter of, can I break it down in a kindergarten level and give you the expectation set accordingly, and then give you the action steps to go and take. So one, it was a need. Two, I really had to step out of my comfort zone, and it was through Brent Daniels. I was doing a show with him called Millionaire Before 30 that we were running every single week. And it came to the point where he's like, hey, you are very knowledgeable in this. You need to go and basically take market share. Like, there is nobody else out there that will teach this better than you for on-market stuff. And I was like, let's go for it. And so with his guidance and expertise, being that he was with Wholesaling Inc. as long as he was, I mean, I literally saw him go from being under contract with them to buying them, which was awesome. It was cool just to kind of have his guidance. So, I mean, I would go over to his house and we walked around his neighborhood. He was telling me kind of ideas for branding, talking about how TTP came to be, some of the modules. And then I basically just wanted it to be like, okay, I want this to be consumable. I want this to be a marketplace where people feel welcome, and it's a family, it's a good culture, and more importantly, it's just community. It's what I do every single month out here anyway. And I wanted to basically just make that for the people that invest into agent investors. So launched that April 1st of last year. I realized after the fact that April Fool's Day was very foolish, no pun intended, but April Fool's Day.
Is that when you launched it? April Fool's Day?
Literally April Fool's Day.
I like the background story, how you came up with the name, Ryan, but you don't have to go there right now if you don't want to.
The what, agent investors?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, honestly, screw it. I mean, I was high a little bit, and I was sitting there, I'm like, I kept telling Brent, because I'm like, I'm an investor and then I'm an agent. Like, that's how it is. And this was instilled in my head through Steve, through Templeton, through everyone in the investment space, saying that you walk into the listing appointments, you are a buyer first. And I was like, yeah, but I mastered the strategy of making more money than agents, and I'm an agent. And so then I was like, I don't know. And Brent and I were walking around his neighborhood, and he was just like, yo, it's agent investor. He's like, it's AI. And I was like, it kind of hit me, and I was like, holy shit, that's actually brilliant. And so AI, I'm like, well, we always talk about building an army of realtors. So now it's all about just symbolizing the robot, artificial intelligence. AI is kind of in my favor, boomed over the last 12 months. But it's just been about automating. So everything is through being the agent perspective first, but understanding the mindset of an investor and how to make the win-win scenario for the two.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's amazing. I love the connection, the agent investor connection, because you know it's always been the fight, right? Like it's always been the night and day, like agent investor. Then agents don't like investors. Investors are like agents are you know they're licensed.
We mainly just make fun of how they dress.
Absolutely. Well, I think it goes both ways. I think agents are the ones making fun of the investors.
Yeah,
and I think
it
the
does.
investors are the ones making fun of the agents.
It does.
Yeah,
And for sure.
Because it's like I just realized I'm like, man, like we're all making so much money together. And the agents that I am working with that are in my VIP section, I mean, we're all making really, really good money. It's win-win-win between us, the agent, and the seller. Why wouldn't this blow up?
Yeah.
And I mean, now we've gotten to the point where we have 15, 20 agents. We can do multiple deals with every single month or every single year. And out of those 15, 20, 30 agents, I mean, ends up being 30, 40, 50, 60 deals without trying that hard. And then it becomes, like I said, automated. It's basically a referral-based business and it's just plugging in the pieces. So
I love it. I'm gonna put you on a spot here where you can answer this if you want, but because I've seen some videos, I'm very in tune, like, and something that Ryan knows about is I love to watch the competition and see what they're doing. And I've seen some videos, agent outreach. I'm not gonna say which videos or what channel or anything like that. And I wasn't too fond of it. But for you specifically, because you've gotten this thing and you mastered it, and I absolutely agree with Brent Daniels. I haven't heard anybody else do it better than the way you do it, and your success shows that, right? Your results show that. Can you talk about, without going too deep into like your whole, the course, because I know you sell that. What are some like 2 or 3 points that make your process efficient, compared to what other people are doing? Because I'm going to tell you, some of those videos I watch, just make the offers or call the agent, and it's like we get those properties in our list, and it's listed on the market for $10,000 lower than what it's listed on the MLS. So sorry to throw those punches out there, but it's happened. But can you talk a little bit about where you came in and kind of mastered that process and made it more efficient for people?
Yeah, so let's reference it back to what the storyline was. It was in that referencing of comparison. I mean, I was over there being like, oh my gosh, so-and-so spending X amount of dollars and they're doing all these great things. I'm a bum because I'm only spending $10,000, $15,000 a month.
Yeah.
On the way of what I recommend and how I think I did very well was, what's the norm to be a very good dispo arm? You have to have thousands and thousands and thousands of buyers. And I was like, that sounds like a lot of time. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. Like I'm sorry.
That doesn't happen, man. Come on. I'm just kidding.
No, but like, let's keep it real. Like, let's talk about some shit that went on in my head.
Yeah.
And so I was looking for the lazy, easy approach. And so my very first thing was I picked a market that was in my backyard, but it wasn't something that I had the ability to be boots on the ground with all that easily. It was Tucson. So I started in Tucson and I started building relationships with agents because I saw my competition was really pushing heavy in Phoenix. But then I was like, all right, well, I mean, I might as well just go to a market that's a little bit less competitive, which was Tucson. And I built up a buyer's list. So Ryan Pineda, before he was a big celebrity, was buying properties from your boy off the MLS, and he was buying sight unseen. I just sent him my properties. I sent him 1 or 2 comps. He looked it over. He's like, yep, check off. Let's do it. And so I would just send it, 5K assignment, 10K assignment, 5K assignment, 10K assignment. I was good with it, made my money. And then I added in like 2 or 3 other buyers. At this point, I mean, I was able to buy a mobile home that is on owned land and pay cash for it. I was able to start connecting pieces to other agents that needed help with traditional clients that I just didn't want to drive out and refer and do the showings myself. So I just started referring clients to agents in Tucson. And then there were some deals that I started getting referral fees back in commission on the deals that they were representing me in both sides of the transaction. They'd represent the seller and me. So they'd throw me a quick 20, 25% referral, and then I'd make a 10K assignment. They'd walk away with about $12,000, $15,000 in commission, kind of smaller price points in Tucson. But then I was walking away with about $2,500 commission, about 5-10 grand in assignment. Everybody was winning. So I did it with literally 5 buyers. One was Ryan. 2 was Keegley, who's a big disposition wholesale company. 3 was Templeton, and he didn't have too many connections in Tucson. 4 was another dispo house. I can't name this person. And then 5 was another buyer that does buy and hold. So if you look across the midst of it, I had 3 other people that were wholesalers. I had 1 that was a buy and hold person, and then I had 1 that was an actual buyer to go in and fix and flip. 5 people made me $250,000.
Yeah,
like,
damn.
So I just doubled down on those relationships, thinking again, like, this is where I feel like where everybody has, I don't want to say like failed is not the word because people haven't failed. It's like where people haven't mastered this strategy. Everything I do comes from an agent perspective first, and nobody's going to teach better than me because no one was doing the traditional game at the highest level that I was at such a young age. I mean, 1, I feel like my memory's going to be better because I'm younger, but 2, I feel like I was doing traditional.
Yeah, Ryan, our memory's better than yours, bro.
Bro, I was doing the game. Jerk. I was doing the game of traditional agency where I was literally in all different trenches of traditional. So I understand all of the things that go through someone's head, from being on a team to running a team to having a partner to commercial, business broker, traditional agency, rentals. I was doing all of it. I mean, I was spending at one point, it was $20,000 a month on the traditional agency side and just Zillow leads. Like I know what the agent's thought process is. So when I'm going into the transaction or into a conversation, I understand their thoughts sometimes better than they do. So when they have a what would be a rebuttal, there's times I'm on the phone with an agent and the people are always like, Ryan, how are you so good? It's not even that I'm good on the phone. It's just called experience. It was doing the reps. And a lot of it was being the frustrated agent on the other side because of the volume we were doing, realizing how hard it was to actually be the agent. So when I'm an investor calling an agent, I already know what's going on in their head if they've been doing it long enough. So if they have the experience and they already know what the struggles are, they know exactly what I'm going to say and how it would make them feel rest assured. I will go in, I'll protect myself, and I'll make sure what I promise you a number, I will commit to on the deal. So I just honored my word. I built really good relationships. I built a reputation, and I took care of my people. There was a lot of times I'd be willing to take less on an assignment fee. If I wanted $20K, I was fine giving it to them for 5 to 10 because it was a deal done. I had another offer that was higher, but the risk of them being the wholesaler that had to find another buyer. Okay, well, if I can just sell it to Ryan and make 5K instead of selling to somebody else and potentially making 10 to 15, I'll take my 5 all day long.
Smart, man.
Yeah, I love that. Go ahead, Ryan. You were gonna say something?
Oh, I just said that's smart. You know, he did what wasn't being greedy, and it worked. Right, that's something that I think I run into a lot of, because dispo. You know, we get a lot of deals sent to us where these wholesalers want these big, huge fees. They're like, "Yeah, go ahead, put your fee on, man. Whatever you want to add." And I'm just like, "Yeah, bro, we can't even sell it for what you're asking for."
Yeah,
it's unrealistic.
So I mean, that's where I just think it's expectations. And for me, I was like, even when I was going and dispoing, I was just very transparent.
Yeah. No, that's it, right? So that's what we started doing. We're like, hey, if you have this direct to seller and you don't send us the original contract, like, we're not gonna even look at it. So then we started seeing, like, okay, what they wanted versus what they had under contract, and then we looked at the comps, like, dude, yeah, you're no, this is not happening.
Well, and here's the thing that I've even realized too is that you mentioned earlier, like, you'll get the deal sent to you at a 10K off list price. It's not that it's not a deal 10K off list price. It's that it's not a deal cash. It's if it's creative. It could work. But seeing the purchase contract when you have the original purchase price, you'll find that a lot of them, their first deal, they're throwing it to you 40K higher. And you're like, what the hell are you doing here, random person on the internet? Like, this is not how this works. And that's the biggest problem that I think most people have. And it kind of refers back to ego. When you're first getting started, who gives a shit about the money? The amount of people that are always like, oh my gosh, like, I'm giving away half my money and I'm going and getting the deal done. I'm like, no, you got paid half the money to learn. Like, that's literally the beauty of this entire thing. Shut up and take the money and run. Go and do it again on your own. And if you can go and learn from somebody else, like, let's just replicate. Like, come on.
Yeah, I love that advice. It's amazing. Most people don't think like that. But I love
everything. We're hiring, by the way, after that. Special insert by Ryan.
Right. Yeah. I love how you broke that down. So what I took from your whole dialogue about, the efficiency of it is, obviously you're bringing experience. You understand how to maneuver the conversation. And the one big thing is
finding
solving problems. Yeah. Finding a buyer first. Right. And solving problems. I'm always huge. Like, I have the three concepts that I'm a big believer in, which is be a problem solver first, salesperson second, and then real estate buyer third. Right. And so I think if you can actually get good at solving problems, being creative, and I'm not just talking about creative deals. I'm saying getting creative, whether you got to adjust, if you're making a $20,000 assignment fee, but you want to keep the relationship, adjust it, right? There's going to be other deals that are going to come down the road. Like, if you try to make a grand slam off of one deal, and you're not going to make relationships ever again. You know, and you understand the agent world a lot better. And I think that's what separates you, is that you understand the ins and outs and the integral parts of it because you're actually doing it. And it's something that it's a feedback that I get when it comes to my sales intensive as well. Like, because I'm always adjusting based on what's happening in the market, right? Because I'm still on the phones, I'm still in tune with what's going on, and that's the number one feedback that I always get, Max. I love how you navigate. You know, you tell us this is what the book says, but if you get into this situation, adjust this way. And I think you have those same those same manners as well too. Christopher's got a long question here. It says, got a seller who took out a hard money loan on her rental property. She can't pay. Now is in pre-foreclosure. She owes $274 worth $349, $60K to bring the loan current. How do we help the seller? Hey, that's our seller, isn't it?
Is that our old? Is that our? I was about to say, is that our property, bro?
I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know. It sounds the same. So
206, Christopher. I think that's our property, but it's all good.
No, it sounds familiar. We have a situation like that. I don't know if there's much you can do as far as, I mean, what do you think?
I would just say it depends on what the PITI is to what the rent rate is. If you have enough spread and you could cash flow, you could take it over sub 2 and make some kind of an agreement. The biggest thing is that if it's cash flowing, how is she not making payments? Is it because her hard money loan is too high every month and she couldn't qualify to refi into her own name? There's just a little bit more. He asked if it's on Coconino.
I don't know. No, I don't think it is. No, it's not the same deal. It's same situation, but
yeah.
Go ahead.
I would just say it depends if you can cash flow. If you can cash flow, there's a way to save the day. $60K to bring the loan current, I would tell you it's probably because the hard money loans literally just weren't paid. So a little bit more to unpack. I'd figure out what the monthly payment is and what the rent rates are. And if there's spread there of at least $350, you should be able to make a deal happen.
I love it.
That's fast.
Marlon wants to know, where would you find the buyers?
Great question. Buyers are everywhere. So this is where I actually will say a lot of what I was taught within Astro Flipping did help me. And it was just understanding the right things to say, going in as a buyer and being able to do what they teach is like a switch and say, hey, I have other people interested. So having a bunch of wholesalers in your back pocket is not necessarily a bad thing. That's one. That's what my first point is a wholesale relationship. Two, as for like fix and flippers, buy and hold investors. If you're driving around your local market, I would say any trash cans that are literally outside the house, the big dumpsters in the driveway, the house is being remodeled. Stop in, introduce yourself to the contractors, ask if you could talk to the homeowner. Reach out and say, hey, my name is Marlon. I'm a realtor in the area. Just closed on a deal around the corner from your property, 123 Main Street. I wanted to see, are you looking to buy another one? And if it's an agent that owns the property, even better. If it's just the investor, cool. Now you've got a buyer. You could also go on the route of pulling the sold comps in specific neighborhoods. Title companies can pull that for you, or what I use is Privy. You can go in and pull all the data that has people that bought and sold properties in the last however many months or year. I usually pull the last 6 months, and I like to see all the buyers that bought in a specific neighborhood and just reach out and introduce myself to their agent. Remember, I'm lazy. I don't want to go and work with buyers, so I'd rather go and find the people that have the relationships with the buyers. Or if I can have the one-off direct connection, like if I know exactly what they're looking for, that's the perfect ideal case. Aside from that, utilizing agent relationships, utilizing wholesale relationships, those are great places to go to.
I love it. Very good advice. We've sold quite a bit of properties just by going to, not driving around looking for the dumpsters outside, but actually going, doing a circle prospecting around the neighborhood to see what else is there. Because who else wouldn't want a project where you're already doing rehabbing? They love that stuff. Sebastian said, problem solver, salesperson, real estate buyer. That mindset shift has made me so much money. Thanks, Max. You're welcome, brother. Learning creative finance. Awesome. Christopher says, needs to pay the loan in 6 months, so no sub 2 can happen. Okay, then. Yeah.
So I mean, I would just say it's a bad situation. I mean, if it's worth 349 and she owes 274, just sell it.
I know I had this conversation with Matthew because we had this situation, Matthew Potter, which you know, Ryan. You might, depending on the lender, because it is a hard money lender, a lot of them won't do this, but potentially there could be a chance for a short sale where you could come in and make an offer, because I can tell you the last thing that hard money lenders want to do is actually foreclose on one of their own deals, right?
Well, see, and that's what I'm just confused on, though. I mean, if they owe 274 and it's worth 349, they've got equity in the deal. So I mean, if they could,
they do, but they're not. Yeah, so sorry, not to mean to interrupt you, but what I've learned, because in 2017 we bought a lot of properties from a hard money lender, And what they're not in the real estate business, they're in the lending business. So the last thing they want to be doing is selling real estate, right? They just want to keep lending. But again, every hard money lender is different, right? I think that's really what it's all about. Really quick. So a couple of things. You have some big projects coming up. I know that the last one I saw was is that your the family tree? Is that your project, or was that a joint venture? Was it yours?
Yes,
okay.
it's a joint ventureship between me and Matthew and Steve, but basically Matt and I are kind of at the forefront of that. As I launched Agent Investors, I really found that the need was in the investment world, like I mentioned. And what I told everybody within the community, those that are in the program already know this, but I'm bridging the gap literally. And what I found is in the investment space and education space is that there's a lot of just fluff. So if I could do a lot of the legwork and hand-holding and bring the opportunities to my people and watch them succeed, that's what it's all about. Cool. So the focus primarily was the investment side for the last year. This next year is all traditional. Matt and I are going to be doing coaching calls weekly where anyone that is a licensed agent, they can come and align with the family tree. It's over at Real Brokerage. We're nationwide. I think it's just missing West Virginia and like South Dakota. Those are the only 2 states we're not licensed in. But anyone that is licensed in the entire country, it doesn't matter the state aside from those 2, can come and join us. So we're able to kind of take this more nationwide and help bigger reach. And so that's our plan. We're basically aligning some of the top traditional real estate agents and teams in the entire country under us, and then just building with them.
I love it, man. That's awesome. I know that I know you got to go, and I really appreciate you. If someone wants to know more about Agent Investor, how they can connect with you, what is the best way that someone can reach out to you and connect with you?
For sure. It's going to be agentinvestors.com. It's just those 2 words, no other numbers, hyphens, or anything like that. Aside from that, social media sites, just my first and last name. Check me out. But yeah, Agent Investors, we'd love to have people. We can put together some kind of a code. So if they have any questions or anything, make sure to get you guys some credit. So yeah, I mean, if anyone has any questions or anything, just reach out to agentinvestors.com or reach out to me on social media, and we'll get you all squared away.
Man, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for your time. I know that you got things going on personally, but I really appreciate you for taking the time on. And guys, if you are not following Ryan, you should follow him on social media, on Instagram, and again, go to his website, agentinvestors.com. If you are interested in, learning more about how that process works and how he, has mastered that. I think, I've known Ryan, for a long time, and, I've seen his success, and there's no one better I think you can learn from when it comes to that strategy. Just because, he's got the experience and he's got the actual results to, back it up. So, man, appreciate you, Ryan, for being on. We're going to close out, and man,
cool.
We'll see. We might have you back on, man, once you have more time, because I think you have a lot more value to bring.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot we didn't get to. There's a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of announcements.
I would love to. Definitely let me get this personal stuff taken care of, and then the next couple weeks, let's make it happen.
Yeah,
all good.
Sounds good, Ryan. You take care.
To
right?
our
Thank
audience,
you,
so real quick, Max, audience, stand by. Keep a close eye out. We have announcements coming out regarding all of us, so that'll be coming out soon. Anyways, Ryan, I know you got personal stuff, man.
Thanks, guys.
Completely appreciate
Sounds
you
good,
being
Ryan.
on here, bro.
Talk to you later,
awesome,
brother.
Dude. Thank you, brother.
Boom. Amazing. So everyone, I appreciate everyone for being on. This was Ryan. I mean, it's amazing to, hear him speak and his experience, how young he is, and basically, how, when he started, 18, and then now, obviously 7 years later, the success that he's had. But it all comes down to one thing that I've gotten from it, Ryan, and I think it's taking action, bro. Taking action
all the time.
Yeah, taking action, aligning yourself with individuals who, share the same core values, and I think that's really what gives you success at the same time. So, but anyways, don't forget, we are looking for a couple individuals to join our team. There's no better way to start 2023, and to connect and to come and join us. We always have a saying and we've had this saying forever. Ryan knows this, is that you don't ever work for us, you work with us, and we teach you. And I can tell you that everybody that has either came and worked with us for, whether it was 6 months or 2 years, right? They always have left in a better place. I can tell you that right now. We don't hold nothing back. And if you're wanting to learn this business, and let's say that maybe you don't have all this money to invest, this is a good way to get in, right, Ryan? I mean, that's what you did, right?
100%. 100%. That's a good point. That's a really good point. You know, what finally got me into this business, I was going to share that, and I kind of forgot about that. I was just ready though. I was ready. I was committed. You know, I left a full-time position in a great position, meaning I was on good terms, to pursue bigger and better things. And I knew I was going to have to sacrifice. And that kind of, you know, Ryan, I think when he brought that up earlier about sacrificing, that kind of reminded me that, yeah, that's what I had to do. And I did it without any regrets, without thinking twice, because I knew what I wanted to do, but I had to do it. I took a couple steps back in my career to go align myself with Max. And, you know, in a short period of time, you know, life has changed. So it's been an amazing ride. Yep. But I definitely suggest aligning yourself with people. If it's not us, we could help point you in the right direction. We know a lot of people in this industry. We know that, you know, some people align better with other people. So if you're still wanting to get in this business, wanting to get in real estate, don't hesitate to reach out to one of us. Please reach out to me on IG at Real Ryan Overcash. You see my handle on the screen there. Please reach out. Let's talk. Again, like Max said, looking for a couple of people to join ASAP. And we appreciate you being on.
Christopher says for someone to do calls, right? He's asking.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, we, you know, lead manager / junior acquisitions position, looking for those types of positions, even dispositions, right, Max? I mean, we have
we have 3 positions. Yeah, 3 positions. So Sebastian wants to know if Canadians can apply.
Hey, we don't discriminate, Sebastian. Anybody can apply.
As long as they're good on the phones, bro, because they'll get fired just like Americans. No, but we'll definitely, because it is a remote position. So, you know, as long as, you know, they're able to, you know, attend all the team activities, the trainings, and, you know, the accountability meetings, because this year we're trying to build a Navy SEAL team. We're not looking to, batteries got to have to come included. Like, we're not looking to basically pull anyone. We're willing to help you as long as you're willing to put the work and you're willing to, you know, be a student. Self-development is really big, and also learn. Philip Stone Investor wants to know, how do I apply? Can we put the link in here, bro? Let me see. Let me grab the link real quick, because that way maybe some people can actually, you know what? Send a DM to Ryan at Real Ryan Overcash.
It's actually, if you go to my bio, my link tree has a link to it. I was just going to grab that real quick.
Yeah, no, you're good. Just send a DM, Phillips, to Ryan at Real Ryan Overcash. Send him a DM, and Ryan's actually a lot more responsive than I am. It takes me a long time to respond. So basically, send him a DM, and or James. Sorry, I was going off your handle there, Philip Stone Investors. And so definitely reach out to him. Send him a DM at Real Ryan Overcash, and that way he can connect you. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, Ryan, this was really good, brother. I think it was a really good show to start off 2023. We have a really good one next week. I'm not going to say who's coming yet. But we're excited.
Keep it secret, huh? Gonna keep it secret.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have to, bro, because we want to keep that suspense. So,
I have to say, though, they're all heavy hitters from what I saw, bro. I saw you.
Oh, yeah, bro. The whole lineup.
Bringing the heat.
The next 6 weeks is jam-packed with heavy hitters right now. The next 6 weeks. I have commitment from all of them already. So number one, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel so you can be reminded, and hit the bell notification so you can be reminded when these heavy hitters come on board. And like you guys always know, my goal is to get them to open up, just like I did with Ryan Zolin today, right? Got them to open up about, you know, strategies and things like that. You know, we all watch those shows where they talk about, you know, their story and everything else. When we came up with the idea on this show is we want it just to be real, raw, and get as much out of the guest as possible, even more than just speaking, you know, on stages and things like that. We don't want it. We've heard the stories already. We want the meat and potatoes, and that's what we're here to give you. So stay tuned, subscribe, you know, share the show as well too. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, Danny, for the fire emojis. Philip said James said he just DM'd you, Ryan. Travis, appreciate the fire emoji. So awesome, everyone, go crush it. It's only Tuesday. Don't forget, you got 3 more. You got rest of the week. So go out and crush it. and let us know about your success. We appreciate you and everyone.